Welcome children to social studies class. Children, today we are going to pick up the next chapter, that is the second chapter from history, the earliest societies. Now let us go through the introduction part, children. Man evolved very gradually from a stooping ape-like creature that you all might be aware of, children, that earlier पहले हम लोग कैसे थे? We were ape-like creature. Okay, ape-like means a type of animal like a large monkey. Okay, with either no tail or a short tail. Okay, so earlier human beings looked like that. Okay, so man has evolved very gradually. Evolved means to develop. Okay, from a stooping ape-like creature we have developed gradually. We were earlier looking like a stooping ape-like creature. Stooping means bent hua, jhuka hua. Okay, we looked like an ape creature. This happened over hundreds of thousands of years. Okay, a period much longer than the entire period of modern man's existence on earth. So this they are talking about hundreds of thousands of years ago. Okay, many physical changes appeared during this period. Okay, so slowly, gradually, when man was evolving, okay, many physical changes came into being. An important change was the ability of the first man-like creature to balance on his feet and stand and walk erect. So children, first of all, in the introduction part, what they are telling is man earlier. This they are talking about hundreds, thousands of years ago. Man looked like a stooping ape-like creature. Okay, stooping means chuka hua. Ape, a type of animal like a large monkey with no tail or a short tail. Okay, but slowly, as the time went by, man evolved. Okay, very gradually, very slowly man evolved. Okay, means developed. And there were many physical changes that appeared during that period. Okay, an important change was the ability of the first man-like creature to balance on his feet and stand and walk erect. So here they are talking about an important change that was seen in the first man-like creature. Slowly he was able to balance on his feet, okay, stand and then walk erect. Erect means straight. Then slowly his thumb developed and could hold things, okay. He could throw things easily, okay, and handle each and every object in a better manner, in a proper manner as compared to other animals. Now, improved understanding. Now, children, as man evolved gradually, man's brain size also increased, okay? And this thing helped him to adjust himself with his surroundings. During that time, in his surroundings, the most easily available thing was stone. Okay, so he used stones to throw it at his prey. Then for crushing nuts also stones were used. Okay, slowly he learned that the stones had sharp edges. Okay, and these sharp edges were very useful. Okay, from these sharp edges he could easily cut and chop wood and meat. Okay, could cut many things, he could chop many things. Okay, then stones having round shape were used for crushing and grinding purpose. Okay, so man began to make his own tools and weapons. Okay, and not just he was also making improvement upon his tools and weapons. Okay, now children, talking about the Stone Age. Stone Age covers the longest period of man's existence on our planet Earth. Okay, so it is the longest period, Stone Age. Okay, and Stone Age, as the name itself suggests, it was the period when stone was most widely used material. Okay, and Where was it used mostly? It was used for making tools and weapons. Okay, because stone was the most easily available thing during that time. Now, children, for making tools and weapons apart from stone, which other things did man use? Man used bone, man used wood, animal horn, okay? But mostly stone was used, okay? Because it was widely available. Also, on the basis of tools used, okay, Stone Age can be divided into 3 periods, okay, on the basis of types of tools used. It can be divided into how many periods? 3. First one is Paleolithic Age, okay, or the Old Stone Age. Paleo means old and lithos in Greek means stone. Then comes Mesolithic Age or Middle Stone Age. Meso means middle. And then comes the Neolithic Age or the New Stone Age. Neo means new. Now talking about the Paleolithic Age, children. In this chapter, we are mainly going to focus upon Paleolithic Age. Okay. Now if we say that if I ask that which was the longest part of the Stone Age, then the answer for that would be the Paleolithic Age. Okay. This Paleolithic Age is further divided into 3 periods, okay? Lower or early Paleolithic, middle Paleolithic and upper Paleolithic, okay? The names of these periods are based on the depths at which remains belonging to these periods have been found. Now children, you might be aware of this term archaeologist. Who is an archaeologist? We studied in the first chapter of history. An archaeologist is a person who digs deep inside the ground and finds out the material remains and studies the same. Okay? Now children, where will you find remains of the past? Remains of the past are usually buried under the soil. Okay, and all these material remains mixed up with garbage and other material, all these things pile up in layers over the years, okay? And archaeologists' work is to dig the ground and whatever material remains he finds, he studies the same, okay? Life of Paleolithic man. Now children, after reading this particular heading, one question which came to my mind is that from where will we come to know about the lifestyle of Paleolithic man? Lifestyle of Paleolithic man is based on findings done by an archaeologist. Okay. Now children, if we talk about the remains, okay, of that period, archaeologists have found skeletal remains of man and animals. Then they have also found things made by primitive man, okay, his paintings, okay, paintings done on the rocks, on the walls of the caves, okay. So by studying all these things, archaeologists came to a conclusion and then they have given us an idea about the life of Paleolithic man. See, here it is written that when an archaeologist studies an excavated object, he also studies the soil in which it was buried. Okay, what is the work of an archaeologist? He will dig deep into the ground, okay, and he will study the material remains, okay. But they are also telling that along with studying the material remains, archaeologist also studies the soil from which they have got the material remains, okay. Now you all must be thinking that studying the material remain is okay, but why to study the soil from which they have got this? See, when they will study the soil from which they have got the material remain, okay, then they will come to know about the climate and vegetation of the period to which that particular object belongs to, okay. Now children, what is the other way that we can come to know about the life of Paleolithic man? Just observe today's tribal groups. Okay, if you will observe their lifestyle, then you will get an idea about the life of primitive man. Okay. Coming to the next topic, hunter-gatherer. Now see children, what they are telling over here is that Paleolithic man, where did he live? He lived in caves and rock shelters. Okay. He was a nomad. Nomad means wanderer. Used to move from one place to another. Okay. See here itself it is written in the second line. Who wandered from place to place in search of food. Okay. That is why he was known as a nomad. Okay. Or a wanderer. He did not know how to produce food. Okay. During that time, they did not know the process of farming, how to produce food. Okay. He just survived by hunting wild animals and birds, then fishing, gathering wild plants, berries, nuts, roots, tubers. Understood? Okay, so they did not know how to produce food. So they used to survive by hunting and gathering. That is why they were known as hunter-gatherers. Understood? Now, slowly, these hunter-gatherers, they learned to watch. They learned to understand and remember the animal behavior. Why there was a need to watch, understand and remember the animal behavior? So that they can hunt the animals at the right time, and at the same time they can protect also themselves from the wild animals. Understood? Obviously they were not knowing how to grow crops, right? So they will have to go for the process of hunting. Okay, so during that time they have to take care of themselves also. Okay, they will have to protect themselves also from the wild animals. So they used to watch, understand and remember the animal behavior. Okay. Here they are also telling children that physically these hunter-gatherers were not very strong. Okay, they were very weak, they were very slow. Okay, but at the same time they learned all these things. They learned to understand and remember things. Okay, that they studied the animal behavior. So all these things were more important than their physical strength. So when these hunter-gatherers used to search for food, children, they also observed the surroundings. Okay, they also observed that how the vegetation changed with season. Okay, they found out that whether a particular thing was edible or not. Okay, then they used the animal skin, okay, for making clothes, okay, for covering their body. Okay, so slowly they learned all these things. Okay, then they also learned that these stones, bone, wood, then horn, all these things can be used for making tools and weapons. Okay, also the most important part was they learned to light a fire. Okay. Now talking about the next topic, living in groups. See children, Paleolithic man lived in groups. These groups were not that much large, but yes, there were many advantages of the same. Now, what all advantages were there of living in a group? It enabled them to hunt large animals. They could easily share food. Okay, it also provided security against any natural dangers, any natural disaster, okay, which could have come up anytime. Now the best part was the members of the group, they cooperated with one another. Okay, and there were no inequalities within a group. All were treated equally. But one thing was there, that an outsider was not easily accepted by the group members. Okay. If we talk about their lifespan, children, it was only 20 to 25 years. Why? Because Paleolithic man's life was full of danger. Okay, you just think of the surroundings in which they were living, what they were eating. Okay, so according to that, their lifespan was only 20 to 25 years. Okay, now talking about types of sites, children. Finished and unfinished Paleolithic artifacts have been found at several sites where raw materials for making such artifacts are also found in plenty. These were probably factory sites where artifacts were made on a large scale. Now, here they are talking about artifacts. Artifacts, children, we did in the last chapter of history. That means articles such as tools, weapons, pottery, small sculptures, toys, coins, jewelry, etc. made and used by men. Okay, so they are known as artifacts. So many artifacts have been found of these Paleolithic man, finished and unfinished. Okay, at several sites they have been found. Okay, and along with the artifacts, the raw material which was used for making these artifacts, that also has been found in plenty. That means in ample quantity. Okay, and they are telling over here that these were probably the factory sites where these artifacts were made. Okay, now in the next para, what they are telling is at some sites ash and animal remains have been found along with artifacts. Now at some of the sites, children, some of the factory sites, along with the artifacts, along with the raw materials used for making the artifacts, they have also found ash and animal remains. Okay, ash means rock, and remains of animal also have been found. Okay, all these things suggests that people worked over there and also lived over there. Okay, these were habitation cum factory sites. Understood? You all are aware of this term, habitation. Habitation means living in a place. Okay, so they have found many of the places factory sites were there, plus at many of the sites were habitation cum factory sites. That means people worked over there also and lived also over there. Now talking about Paleolithic tools, children. Okay, how were these Paleolithic tools made? Paleolithic tools were usually made by chipping stones. Okay, now what is the meaning of chipping? To break a small piece off the edge or surface of stones or any other thing. That is the meaning of chipping. Now stone tools basically were of two kinds, core tools and flake tools. Now let us study them in detail. Now talking about the core tools, children, how were these core tools made? They were made by chipping off pieces from chunks of rock or hand-sized pebbles. Okay, and the stone left after chipping is called core. After chipping process, the stone which is left, that is called the core. Core tools were usually oval or pear shaped. Either the shape was oval or pear shaped. See, here it is shown. See here the picture which is given on the left hand side, that is pear shaped. Okay, and this is an example of core tool with chipped edges. Now next, what they are telling children in core tools, that where were these core tools used? These core tools were used as hand axes for heavy work. Okay, for heavy work like cutting of trees, digging the earth for roots and tubers, breaking bones. Okay, even these core tools were used for cutting large pieces of meat. Okay, talking about the next kind of stone tool, one was core tool that we just now studied. Okay, and the next one is flake tools. Okay, so now let's go through that. So how were these flake tools made, children? See, while they were shaping core tools, जब वो लोग core tools को shape दे रहे थे, okay, during that time, whatever sharp pieces, flakes, okay, that broke off, that fell off, okay, from that flake tools were made, and these flake tools were useful for chopping meat and skinning the animals. Okay, now here they are talking about different ways of chipping stone, children. Now these Paleolithic people, they had different methods of chipping stone. One was direct and the other was indirect. Now what did they do in direct method? They first took a pebble or a piece of bone or a piece of wood, okay, and that was used as a hammer, and with that they used to chip off pieces from a softer pebble or chunk of stone. Okay, then talking about the indirect method. See here, they have given you a picture in that they have shown direct method of chipping stone. Did you all see? Now talking about the indirect method of chipping stone, children, this method was used during late Paleolithic period, okay, to shape the tools from flakes, okay. Now here what process was followed, see. The flake to be shaped was placed on a hard surface. First of all, the flake which was to be given the shape, okay, that was first of all placed on a hard surface. उस flake को किसी hard surface पे पहले वो लोग रख देते थे. Then a long pointed piece of bone or wood was taken, okay, and that was placed on it, okay, on that particular flake, okay, like a chisel, and hammered with another piece of bone or wood or a stone, okay. Then it was hammered with other piece of bone, either they would take, or wood or a stone. Now talking about the most important part of this period, okay, that was discovery of fire. See children, how did we come to know that Paleolithic man had an idea about what is fire? See here it is written, remains of ash at some Paleolithic sites led to the conclusion that fire was known to Paleolithic man. Okay, when we studied about the past, we found remains of ash, okay, at some of the Paleolithic sites. So because of that, ash means rak, okay. So because of that, we came to a conclusion that Paleolithic man had an idea about what is fire, okay. Now, how did man discover fire? See, possibly man first saw fire when lightning struck trees. It might have happened that first कब fire देखा होगा man ने, when lightning struck trees. Lightning means बिजली जब किसी ट्री पे गिरी होगी, then it might have happened that man first saw fire, okay. Although he feared fire, he learned to use it to scare away wild animals. Fire was used by these people to scare away wild animals को डराने के लिए it was used, okay, to scare away them. As he did not know how to make fire, he had to take turns with other members of his group to keep it burning continuously. Now, as they were earlier not knowing how to make fire, what did they do? To keep the fire burning continuously, they used to take turns with other members of the group, okay? And in course of time, while rubbing two pieces of stone or wood together, man accidentally discovered how to light a fire. And slowly, slowly, he also learned that how to light a fire. How? See. See here it is given, while rubbing two pieces of stone or wood together. So when they were rubbing, they were just casually rubbing two pieces of stone. उन्हें नहीं पता था, कुछ idea ही नहीं था that fire would be discovered, okay. So they were just casually rubbing two pieces of stone or wood together, and accidentally they discovered how to light a fire, okay. He could now have fire whenever he wanted. Why? Because now he had learnt how to light a fire, okay. Earlier they were not knowing how to make fire, so they used to take turns, okay, with other members of the group to keep it burning. But now as they had learnt how to light a fire, it was easier for them and they could light a fire anytime they wanted. This was his first major discovery and victory over nature. So when we started this particular topic, then itself I told you that discovery of fire is considered as an important discovery, okay. It was the first major discovery of the Stone Age. So this is very, very important, okay. And then slowly man also learnt various uses of fire, different uses of fire. Okay, one we discussed in the this paragraph, that it was used for scaring away the wild animals. Okay, then fire was also used for keeping them warm. Okay, then light up dark caves. Okay, they used to live in dark caves, so to light up that area they used fire. Okay, and even to roast meat it was used. Paleolithic age in the Deccan. Now, children, Paleolithic remains have been found, okay, at many of the places. Places in the Deccan such as Pune, Nashik, and Chirki Nivasa in Maharashtra, then Hanski in Karnataka, and Kurnool in Andhra Pradesh. The region around these sites, okay, the area which is around these particular sites which are mentioned here, that is drained by the rivers. Which rivers? Tapi, Godavari, Krishna, Bhima, and Vardha, and their tributaries. Okay. Now, in the next para, what they are telling is, in the Paleolithic age, rainfall in the Deccan seems to have been heavier than it is today. Okay, so if we compare it with the present day, rainfall in the Deccan which took place earlier during that time was heavier as compared to present day. This is confirmed by finds of the remains of animals like the Indian rhinoceros and wild ox, which prefer wet climates. Okay, so this they have confirmed by the findings, by the studies they have done. Okay, by the findings related with the remains of animals they have got. Okay, remains of animals like Indian rhinoceros, then wild ox. Okay, and they preferred wet climates. Okay, wet means gila. The region was lightly forested. Okay, so here how they came to the conclusion that during that time much heavier rain was there as compared to the present day, by the findings. Okay, and these remains of animals which they have found, they preferred a wet climate. That is why they are guessing these things. Now, in the next para, what they are discussing is, children, large number of Paleolithic tools have been found where at places on high banks along the rivers, okay, which were made from the pebbles. And these places were possibly the factory sites. You remember the term we discussed earlier, factory sites, right? Where the people, Paleolithic people, made the tools, okay? Now, which other remains have been found? See, remains of bones, horns, and tusks of animals such as the wild ox and elephant. Okay, some of these were embedded with weapons, okay, in them, and this thing suggests that animals were hunted during that time because we have found weapons embedded in these. Okay. Large pits were probably dug and covered with leaves and twigs to hide them from view. Okay, large pits यानी कि खड्डे खोदे होते थे उन लोगों ने. Okay, and then they used to cover those pits with leaves and twigs. Okay, so that दिखे नहीं किसी को यहाँ पे खड्डा है. So what will happen is large animals will fell into that pit automatically. Okay, and when these large animals couldn't come out from that pit, they would be killed over there. So this is the way they used to hunt the animals. And these people used to hunt the animals with hand axes and spears, and the spears had wooden handles. Now children, Paleolithic habitation and factory sites, they have also been found at Hanski. Hanski is in Karnataka, which is situated in the Shorapur Duap, that is the land between river Krishna and its tributary Bhima. Okay. The region has several springs which possibly supplied water to the people who lived here. The finds at the sites suggest that during the dry season, the people camped near water sources and hunted large animals that came for a drink. Now see how these people hunted large animals. See, during the dry season, okay, they used to camp near water. The people used to camp near water sources. Okay, and then whenever that any large animal came for drinking water, then they used to hunt them. During the wet season, they spread out over the region and depended more on edible plants and small prey. Okay, so dry season they used to camp near water sources, but what about the wet season? During wet season they used to spread out over the region, okay, and mostly they were dependent during that time on edible plants and small prey. Now, what is the meaning of edible plants, children? Plants that can be eaten, okay? And small prey. Prey means shikar. Now, next, what they are telling is most of the artifacts which were found here at Hansgi, okay, they are tools, and these tools were made from limestone, okay, which was easily found in the surrounding areas. Now, during the excavation, they found many other tools such as hand axes, cleavers, scrapers, knives at this particular site, okay? Borers for making holes also has been found, children, at this site. See here in the picture it is given. Borer made of bone, okay, and borer made of deer horn. This was used for making holes, okay? With this, we come to an end of this chapter, children. End of session. Hope you all enjoyed it. See you in the next lecture.